Hey, I'm Grant, and this is Digression Bar episode 4.
Hey, I'm Andrew.
I'm Jamie.
We totally just didn't mess up the intro. So, let's have some energy, guys. What's up?
It's summer and it's already getting hot.
My car still isn't fixed yet, and I'm borrowing Jamie's dad's truck, and it has no AC, and that is so bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first truck thing I drove. But I remember it used to have air conditioning because we would take it out fishing and we'd have to drive to like Pawnee. And then, I mean, it had air conditioning then, but ever since then, it's just dying slowly.
How has your week been so far, you two? Because I have a rant. I have 2 rants I want to make. They're the first 2 topics I have on the screen.
Okay.
First one is when you came over, you brought me that letter that was on my door.
Yes.
And what it was is like, you did not pay your rent this month. And I'm annoyed because, so what I did is I set up autopay. What do you think autopay means?
It automatically gets it out of your account, right?
Yes. What do you think it means?
That's exactly what it sounds like, because that seems to be what every other auto pay is.
No, what autopay means is that when you go there, it will just be listed as a default option, apparently. So I still had to log in and be like, pay. So now they're like sending me this big notice like, you didn't pay your rent. And I'm just like really salty. Every other bill, autopay means you pay it automatically. And I'm annoyed at that.
That's stupid.
It's stupid.
Is that...
I just paid it right now.
Did you just figure that out now, or...
Well, yeah, because it was supposed to go through.
When I say now, I mean when I gave you the piece.
That was the note, yeah.
But that's the first notification you had for it.
Yes.
Okay, so you literally just put that...
Yes, I literally just put that on the list because it just happened. And like, I thought like, oh, maybe. I double checked because I set it up like over a month ago. So it should have been fine by now. But I guess no, it just means that when you log in the site, there's like a pay now option. And all it does is like fill in your forms, which I already have a thing for that. So I don't understand the point of auto pay.
When was your payment supposed to be due? Last week?
The second.
The second.
How did this work when you were with DJ, though?
We would just take checks in. But I didn't do auto pay because we had to split it.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Although I'm probably going to go back to checks because they charge me like, it's something stupid like it's a 5% fee to use a credit card online, which for rent is like a substantial amount. So I'm not about to do that.
Are you talking about your card holder?
No, them.
Why would they do that? Is it like an insurance for them to make sure you're not just like...
Well, they don't do it. It's the credit card company, but usually the business will eat the cost. So you do business, but they don't want to. So they just forward it to you. So it's like, I don't want to go walk over to like the rent box because it's like 90 degrees out, but I think I'm going to have to because it's like $15. Oh, I think more than that.
Ooh, I would... If it's 5... What is...
It would be...
What is your rent? I don't know what your rent is.
It might be like somewhere between $20 to $30.
That's a lot for just using a credit card. Wow.
Also, that's monthly.
So it's like a year's worth of that. I was just like, damn it. I just wanted to set this up. Like all my other bills don't have that fee. I set them up and then I just get a notification like, hey, guess what? Your bill was posted at like 1 a.m. You paid it at 1:01 a.m. Nice. And I just don't have to worry. And for some reason, rent's not that way.
Well, for like my sister and she has auto pay on our phone account, but like I pay my amount of the bill and then she just lets it go to the period and then it pays it automatically at the end of the month, which is really nice. So that's why, but I wouldn't get charged for that. Is it just because our company pays for that?
Yeah, like most companies would cover that cost within reason, but I guess they don't want to. I'm just salty because like there's even other stuff like it's not just you put in the info and you hit save. It's like literally it's like, well, how much do you want your maximum payment to be so you're not like being overcharged on your credit card and all this other stuff I filled out apparently just so that it will be there when I log into the site anyway to pay my rent. So I'm salty. That literally just happened. Literally like an hour ago.
Just think of how many premium, services you could, be subscribed to for less money than that extra $20, $30 a month.
These mic stands cost less than paying that every month. So yeah, there's always like, I feel like I'm in the stage of my life where I'm just trying to acquire stuff and I just need money so I can buy all my stuff. Like little things like these mic stands, we bought this couch. Oh, I bought this couch. We bought that desk. All this, I just need stuff. My chair is breaking. Jamie can vouch. I'll throw a picture up of it. But when you look over there, it's literally just hanging by fabric. So every time I lean back, I'm like, this is going to be the time it's going to break and I'm going to fall on my ass.
Every week it becomes more and more of a recliner.
It does. And I remember like, I didn't hear the tear because I had my headphones on, but there was a moment where I like leaned back and it was like, this is really far back. And then when I stood up, it's like, oh yeah, it's literally hanging by a thread.
My mom got my brother and I a couple of these pretty nice gaming chairs back in the 360 days. So I'm going to say this was probably around I'm going to say it was probably around 2010 or 11 or something like that. And even so, after like went to like Xbox One, it doesn't work because it's not the right inputs. It doesn't have an HDMI compatibility.
Your chair takes HDMI?
Well,
Like, does that? So it has speakers in
it
it.
had speakers in it.
Awesome.
Which sometimes when my brother and I would play right next to each other, that was a problem for the other person sitting right next to when we're like back here and these sounds like going right in your ear. Mm-hmm. But that's not important. They're also just nice to kind of have just for sitting down and playing a video game. Anyway, even though that function doesn't work anymore and they're old. But one of them was used more than the other, and the connection between the chair and the suspension and the base was like a big metal, cone and cylinder, and the cone that went into the chair and into that cone cone was welded, and the welding just one day just gave. And so now it's just like this.
I am really regretting not putting your camera lower for all the hand motions you are doing right now. Because I'm totally going to swap. If they're in that view, I'm totally going to like swap sounds out, and I'm going to make some videos just off that. Because all you were doing, you're like doing like this like shaft motion and then like rubbing the tip. And
if I'm not doing that by accident, I'm talking about sexy beavers, not because I'm talking about the innuendos. I'm talking about the beavers that are in Gravity Falls, and I'm like, oh wait, that's also an innuendo. Ha 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 ha. But I was gonna say, Alex, when William would have him over so they would have controllers, Alex gave that chair nickname Detroit because it was dangerous and it was easy to fall down in.
So what inputs does it take?
It had old audio inputs, like the 5
Component? So it took video?
No, had 4 reds and whites, I think, or yellows.
You should send me a picture. I feel like there's a way you can fix. Okay, you could probably get a converter. I know, like my Elgato, it converts up from like those like inputs to HDMI. So I assume you can go the other way around, but with just sound. But I really want to get a chair like that, or something like what I always see, like when I see like a professional like streamer, or I'll watch like the International for Dota. They have these really nice chairs, and that's what I want, because like I spend a lot of time in it. Like something like that's actually really comfy, isn't going to break down in a year, because like that's a really cheap chair. I think my parents got it at one point, and I've just had it all the way through college and like before that. So I want to get a really nice one.
And also the speakers at the. Like, they weren't aimed at your ears. They were on the side of mine. It's like, it was nice. It wasn't on the higher end, though, of the nice ones, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to say, like, oh, first world problems here. I'm just saying, like, it wasn't. I'm sure they have amazing ones where, like, the sound goes, like, directly in your ears. But it acts kind of like surround sound, because with the sound audio that went into them, like, okay, where are you aiming? Or where are you looking compared to the sound? It would track that.
For me, what I use is I have wireless headphones. And like these are really nice ones that they advertise them for people who, like, if you have like hearing loss and you want to watch a movie, and totally an impulse buy, but they are the best thing I think I've ever bought, like for quality, because it's like it's got 2 inputs. One goes into my computer, one goes into my Xbox. It just isolates like everything. And really the only reason I bought them wireless is I just wanted to be able to turn my chair without it getting caught. They're amazing. All the time, I'm just going to listen to a podcast. I'm just going to walk around my apartment and have like full surround sound. It's great. Cannot recommend that enough. So I would recommend getting like that, because that would solve your issue of you and William fighting over sound area.
I have a headset that one of us will use. I mean, it's probably nowhere near as special as yours. Also, it has a cord. So
it was actually, when I bought it, I was looking at the Amazon reviews, and I was actually kind of scared because the only people reviewing it were like really old people. And it because that's what it's for. Like everyone would use it to like watch movies because they couldn't hear their TV, but they didn't want to like turn it up really loud because they had like someone else there with them.
Right.
But no, I use it for video editing and stuff, and it's got amazing battery life. Like I think it has something like 12 hours, and I like never run out. The only time it ever runs out is if I get up at like 8 a.m. and like edit all day and then play stuff and just listen to a podcast all the time. It's really, really rare that it runs out of battery. So can't recommend that enough.
Are you sure that running it on like 2-3 times speed is not straining on it?
Well, that doesn't affect that because it's just sending the audio. The audio is the same, so that wouldn't be affected.
Right, but I'm sure the speed of which it's oscillating does.
I don't think it consumes that much power.
I'm not talking about power. I'm just talking about the physical component of what is vibrating in your device.
That would be power. Electricity.
No, I'm talking about the sound emitting drum.
That's driven by electricity.
My thing is the material that the drum is made out of does give out.
So you think it's wear and tear?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe. I can just buy a second set of headphones, which I'd be willing to do because actually that's the other thing you can do with it is it can support, I think technically any number of headsets because it's just broadcasting like radio. So I wouldn't be against getting a second one for backup or just to like share or something. Like eventually one thing I would like to do is if we could somehow get like our own audios pumped back towards us, that would be kind of cool. So especially if we're doing something like Skype. Yeah, stuff like that. Because it would let us do a couple other things. Like I know one thing we ran into when we'd film stuff like OSRS Blind or even just playing other stuff is you can't listen to it. The AC is off and it just came back on right now. God damn it. I don't understand it.
Did you turn it off?
Yeah, it's off right now.
Did you try turning it off and then back on again?
Maybe that's the fridge. I need to figure out how to unplug that.
You don't want to unplug the fridge.
For like an hour, it's going to be fine.
It would be fine.
Yeah, and what I want to get is and this is, again, I need stuff, is I want to get more like smart home stuff because I got my like Alexa and I got like the Hue light bulbs behind me. I want to get wireless outlets. And one of the things I want to get it for is that fridge because I don't want to climb back there and unplug all the time. It's a pain. But if we're like podcasting, I could just be like off and then on.
What does that mean?
What do you mean?
Wireless outlets.
You control them wirelessly.
Okay, so okay.
So like with those light bulbs where I can be anywhere in my house, I can turn them on and off. I can be outside my house and turn them on and off. So it'd be like that where I could be like, oh, turn off. Or I could just say like, okay, maybe I want to save power. So I know I can turn it off every.
So what you're trying to say is it's connected to the internet to turn it on and off. Because like when you say like usually like wireless cords, like between wireless headset, it's just a signal between your headset and whatever it's connected to that would have a cord. Where usually, if you're talking about an outlet, it's like, okay, the outlet is connected to a physical machine. And if that's not connected anymore, how's it getting its power?
Yes. So I want to do that eventually. And just get it. But I need money and I need stuff. I need stuff. Because I like those light bulbs. They're awesome. I always mess with the colors. But realistically, it's going to take me a while to get enough of those to replace every light in my apartment, much less a house.
You should get Hue bulbs for the lights that we have that shine on us.
Like these?
Yeah.
It'd be nice, but these aren't as bright as the ones I actually have right now. But I need to actually look into like lights because you can't see this, but if you ever look at the feed and on the cameras, one of the things they have this issue with is they get really fuzzy. And it's not because the cameras are bad. It's because cameras don't behave really well with low light. So it tries to boost the signal, which causes noise. So that is static in video. So that's just a downside. Where if I had more light, it would be a clearer image because it could focus.
But what of all this stuff that you're trying to get will help you if you're trapped in a staircase?
Yes, segues. So Monday also had mad thing is so I should clarify. Monday morning, I'm annoyed because I didn't sleep very well. Because I kept waking up like every 2 hours. That happened. Annoyed. Also on Monday, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I go for a run. So that sucks when you don't get any sleep. As well as like I don't eat like any breakfast. So I'm setting the stage, okay? So I go for a run. It's shitty. Go to the gym after I run because I go run on a trail outside my work. Take a shower. I leave my ID badge, which the ID badge has like RFID in it, so you have to like scan it to get into things. So I left that in the gym locker room. And unbeknownst to me, I'm like, okay, it's sitting in the locker room. I go to the cafeteria. I buy lunch. It's like awesome. Haven't eaten all day. I got these really nice, awesome hot soup. I got my salad with my peas. And I'm going to take it back up to my desk. I take the elevator because for the elevator, you don't need the card until you get to your floor. So I go up. Okay, can't get into my office area because I don't have my card. Okay, well, maybe I have it in my bag because I've done that before. So I wait until someone like can let me in. I go in, put my nice food down. I'm starving. It's like, well, I need to go get my badge because I don't want it to be lost because then it's going to be a whole thing and I can't move around the building. So there's like a stairwell right by our area. Take that down. But for security reasons, each floor needs the key card. So now I'm stuck in this staircase, which is literally like in the corner of this giant building, and I can't get out because for any individual floor, I have to get a key card. I could walk out the building and go all the way around the entire campus to go in the front door and be like, hey, I lost my key card. But that'd be dumb. And so instead I had to call a coworker to let me out. But this whole time I'm like literally just standing on like the third floor in the stairwell. I'm like still sweating because it's hot as shit because I just took like a shower. I went for a run. I'm starving. My fucking soup is getting cold as shit on my desk. And like, I'm sure all my coworkers are like, man, Grant's taking a really long lunch today. It's like, no, I'm just fucking stuck in this goddamn stairwell. And then I finally get out. It's like, well, now I have to go still get my fucking ID badge. So I had to go walk down, go to the gym, wait for someone to let me in there. And they're like, oh, it's on the bench. Thank you. And then I got to go have my cold soup. It's shitty. I made a tweet. Your brother liked it.
What was it? What is that?
I'm stuck in a stairwell right now. ... But I was mad.
But that was in your tweet. I'm stuck in the stairwell, but I was mad.
The dots emphasize the anger. But I wasn't like pissed. I was just like fuming because it's like really, I'm just like hot. I'm like sweating. I just want to eat my fucking soup.
So what you were hot and sweating. So what you're trying to tell me is you were literally giving off fumes.
Yes. And like no one goes down that stairwell. So I had to call like the one person who I work with, who I have their number. Like, hey, can you please just like let me out of the stairwell? That was fun. So
What was the response?
they just thought I was dumb and I was just like done already because like didn't sleep, didn't have like anything to eat. I just want to get the run done. That consumed like all my willpower, and then this was like another half an hour of just like bullshit that I did not want to.
Like it would be like I'd be like point where like just huddled in the corner, just like die or sleep or something. And you're like, I just can't leave here. This is my life now.
I mean, that's a stairwell, but like, I'm always paranoid with elevators and anything on campus where it's
What are
like
you
an
paranoid
elevator. What?
What are you paranoid about?
Getting stuck in them, because a lot of the ones I've heard about in Roskins, well, on campus, I've heard have like gotten stuck between levels, and people have been late to class because they were stuck in the elevator. You know?
Don't they all have like emergency exit hatches?
They do, but it doesn't mean you're not going to be late for class.
Would you though? Like if the computer, if it stalls, would you be so determined to get to class that you would climb up into the elevator shaft?
No. I'd be so scared.
You were saying worried. I thought you were talking about like, oh, I'm afraid I'm going to be stuck in just a mobile elevator. Nothing to do with class. Like if you miss a class, I'm pretty sure they'll forgive you.
I do not care if I was late to class. I'd be afraid of being stuck in the elevator and being the only one in there and no one would know. Like,
But you were specifically talking about being late to class. I don't care about being late to class at that point. So that's why I'm talking like, well, there's a hatch so you can get out if you're stuck.
oh yeah, I don't care about being late to class.
Plus, you know, like my only thing is like if you're in an elevator and it crashes and it like snaps and it starts falling, I mean, you're just probably gonna die and there's nothing you can do. So you just kind of just
Because that helps a lot.
Usually what's more common is not that it snaps, but that the motor that runs it, since it's like a DC motor, it's more common that they just start going uncontrollably and it'll like slam you into the ceiling instead.
yeah, counterbalance. Yeah. Well, but the thing is, if you're being slammed to the ceiling, theoretically, it could also go the other way.
Yes.
Where it's not snapping, it's just slamming you, going as fast down as possible, and that is just only slightly slower than free falling.
This is scary.
It'd be terrible at my work because I don't think you remember this when you came and visited me, but the elevators in my building don't have any buttons inside them. there's like one panel for like firefighters they can unlock with a key, but there's no buttons. Instead, you hit a keypad on the hallway in front of the elevators, and it will basically pick an elevator, bring it down to you, and send it to your floor. So if you got stuck in there, you're just kind of like literally in a box with nothing to do.
But the only thing though is that I don't think there are very many buildings on campus that you would really have to worry about significant damage from falling. I mean, I think if you fall 3 floors, I'm sure it's probably not that bad.
It's still really scary.
Really hurt and you'll probably break something, but I doubt you'll die. It's like if there's a point where I guess I don't know for sure, but it's not going to be like falling 3 stories without anything. I mean, there's going to be air resistance because of the freaking brick that's falling through a semi-tight area. It's like, I mean, it wouldn't be much. It's just like the one thing we're like, oh yeah, if you just jump up at the last moment, you'll be safe. It's like, no, you won't, because you're still moving the same speed as the elevator. Also, in free fall, you probably won't be standing, you'll be floating.
Yep. Well, I've had instances where the elevator will get to the level but kind of stop a little bit before it. You can tell it's like slowly getting to it. There's like the sound of it. And then it finally gets there, and then it's like, is it going to open? And then it opens.
Do you ever do that thing where when you're going up, you know right when it's about to be like essentially stop at the top? So because it slows down a little bit right before so it goes, Is this in frame? Is this good again? And you jump. That's great.
I used to as a kid. My sister, when she had a hotel birthday party one time, she got stuck in an elevator, and I remember this because she had like a pool hotel party, and she and a few of her friends were in this elevator, but it was like glass, so you could look into it. And apparently, I was young, so I didn't know. Maybe I did, but I didn't do anything about it. But it was actually stuck, and then you could actually see people in the elevator, and she was like trying to tell me to like get someone like to, because it's stuck. But I was just kind of like waving at her, and she was just like stuck in the elevator, and I walked off. And you could literally ask my sister about this.
Was she the only one in the elevator?
It was some of her friends too, but they weren't stuck in there for very long. But she came after me an hour after that, after they got let out. It was like, why didn't you go tell someone that we were stuck in an elevator? And me, being the younger sister, was like, I didn't know. So now that's a thing that she brings up sometimes. Like, remember that time when you didn't save me from that stuck elevator?
So how old were you?
I don't know. I was like I would probably say 2nd or 1st grade.
So you're like 7.
Probably, maybe like 3rd. I was pretty younger elementary, though.
9?
I don't know. Okay. I can't even have a basis for that, but...
Well, yeah. Was she like banging on the window like...
I guess, but I thought she was trying to mess with me.
I mean, she's like, mess with you back. Joke's on you.
So, speaking of elevators, which are used by lazy people, another thing that lazy people do that I tweeted about is people who put groceries in the fridge without taking them out of the grocery bag. Jamie, do you want to talk about this? As someone who, why do you hate everything in life? What causes you to be evil?
I saw your tweet about this, and I called you out on it.
It wasn't you specifically. My mother would do that as well. Okay. And it always bugged me. So my logic is some stuff like meat that we put in a plastic bag individually anyway from the store, I'll put it in there. And what about every other grocery?
For when I live at home, apples, for me,
eggs.
How about you let me talk? But so for me, when I buy something individually for myself, sometimes I'll put it in the bag in the fridge so my parents won't mess with it. I've done that with cupcakes and stuff a lot, and personal things I buy. So I just throw it in the fridge in a bag because I'm gonna eat it soon anyway, or I'm just lazy.
I'll say that I guess at least at my house we have a lot of groceries because but there are times like I'll just put like the grapes or the apples I'll leave in a bag, but I do that because I don't want them like getting out and spilling all over the cabinet. It's like I open it enough so it can breathe. I'm like going to sit it there. If this spills, I'm going to be freaking pissed. I'm going to clean it up later. So I'm just going to leave it in this bag.
It just annoys me because it feels like you're just like phoning it in, like the next person can deal with it. And not specifically if it's like, this is a bag of apples. But I know my mom would do stuff like, here's just like a bag of like several different kinds of lunch meat and a couple cans and like other random things. Okay, yeah. All of it in the refrigerator. It's like, why? This is a toothbrush. Why is it in this bag with the lunch meat? I just want my ham. And it just...
Maybe she's telling you to take better care of your teeth. My toothbrush. Maybe she's got it for you.
You know what irritates me is when people in my family, and I don't know who it is, will put like things like chicken or things that drip when they are like thawing out over like vegetables. And so I don't know what unknown substance is dripping onto these vegetables. Is it like blood? Is it like water from the ice that was on it? But they just let it thaw on top of things that it shouldn't. And it's...
That's why you should always wash your fruits and
I do, but it bugs me because I come home and it's just there and it's like, who the hell did this? Or when we do dishes and they don't put them in the dishwasher and they just keep piling them into the sink, I try to help stop that, but you just can't win.
I try to. I do the same thing. It's like, okay, is the dishwasher empty? Well, it's not completely full. I can put dishes in here. Okay. Or it's like, oh, the dishes need to be put away. It's like, okay, I don't have time to put the dishes away. I will put it in the sink. Someone better fucking put those dishes away. Then I'll start loading the sink again. When I get back, and the chance like, nope, the dishes are still in there. It's like, okay, now I'll fucking do the dishes now. And then put the other dishes in.
She did call me out. She's like, are you subtweeting me right now? Fight me, IRL. And I didn't necessarily subtweet you specifically, which subtweet is like, what's it stand for? Subliminal. It's basically when you say something like, don't you just hate it when someone like totally like hits on your ex-boyfriend and you're like talking about a friend of yours or something where you're specifically calling someone out but not tagging them? That's
People do that on Facebook so many times where you know who they're talking about a lot because it's super specific. Like, oh, I just hate how this one thing happened today that was really specific and it happened in my house or something. It's like, are you complaining about your uncle right now? You can call him out on it all the time.
That was oddly specific.
I have a lot of family members that do this.
I have people like I'll follow on Twitter or Facebook that keep around just because it's like really interesting drama. Like there's one person, you know, that just like randomly like she posts like selfies every day. Jamie knows who I'm talking about.
I know who, yeah.
And then just one day she's like, so I had my baby. It's like, where did this come from? It was just like one day there's a baby. And it was just like really interesting. Like how?
It was 9 months of selfies and then, so haha, I just had my baby. It's like, what?
Yeah. And I guess like looking back, it was probably either stuff like that she'd taken before or was just like headshots. I mean, it's just something you see like in your timeline going through. And I'm like, what? Or I have other friends like that where it'll just randomly be like, it's 2 a.m. All of a sudden, huge fight over Twitter. And just between these two people, it's like, this is great. Drama that's like you're not involved in, it's great.
I think the phrase you're looking for is passive aggressive, by the way.
Yeah, they do really passive aggressive things.
But subtweeting was like specifically the thing I was calling out because Jamie called me out on it.
She called out a call out?
Well, I wasn't calling out. I was just tweeting because I thought of something. I don't remember what set me off. I think it was just that I was getting groceries and it made me think about that.
I thought it was something that I did lately, and I was like...
You have done it, but you're not that bad. It was something about like my parents. It was just like...
Well, if I do something like that, you got to call me out on it because I may not notice that it's insulting to you about it.
I am going to do a very, very hard pivot from the subject because I want to say it before I forget. Remember, we were just talking about like how Seuss's name is probably actually Jesus.
Yeah.
They always say like Jesus. So it's like they're essentially already saying Jesus.
Referencing the three of us watched Gravity Falls all the way through last weekend and 2 weeks away, week 4. Whatever. Yeah. Great show. And we just recently went through all of it and just really good show. And that was what you were referencing, was a character named Seuss, spelled S-O-O-S. Right. Yeah. Every time he talks, it's just wonderful.
Seuss's life is my soap opera.
When she was the chair.
I'm just going to take a rest now.
Yep, I love it.
I just love that show because I like shows and games that go somewhere and finish and just like are a nice package. That's something I actually like enjoy and look for because I feel like there's too many things that just like stretch on and on forever.
You know, but does have a complete package and it's over and you can watch
Seinfeld.
After the Last Airbender.
It's on my list.
I know I have.
Right after Teletubbies.
No, we're watching this after we're done filming. Okay.
Jamie blew my mind the other day. Like this is like I tweeted about this I think a month ago. That she's like, oh yeah, the Teletubbies, they go on their spaceship to do that the whatever. It's like spaceship. It's like, yeah, their house in the spaceship and they're aliens. They're like,
Okay, I don't think
you're completely right. They were aliens.
I don't know if it's like
I mean, I haven't watched Teletubbies, but that really blew my mind for some reason.
I don't know if it's like for sure a thing, but I think that their dome that they live in is a spaceship because it's like metal and there's technology in it, and I mean they're alien looking Teletubbies.
It's like I don't know. It's not something that matters to me, but it also bugs me that I have no way to refute that.
But how does that explain the baby son?
Different world.
But it also has like human like Titanic boats on it.
They live on the. Have you seen Rick and Morty?
I've
The
watched
ending of
Rick
season
and Morty.
2?
I have not watched. Oh, wait, I think I might have seen.
There's a point where they're looking for other planets and they find the perfect planet, except it has a sun that just screams.
That's a good one.
That baby grew up and became that sun. It's canon. I'm tying them together right now.
For a second, I thought you were saying that was legitimately canon. Like, oh, okay.
It's canon that the sun was screaming in Rick and Morty. It's a great fucking scene.
So in Rick and Morty, I can't remember. Can you remind me who is the one that says "Show me what you got"?
Those are the giant floating heads that
Oh, yeah.
they do like American
Show
Idol.
me what you've got.
And they got butts on the back.
Yeah.
It's hilarious to me. Such a good show. I have not seen season 3.
50.
I don't do like musical videos, but you just gave me a great idea. I want to do a mashup of Get Swifty and Sh55. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? Sh55? That like really old YouTube video?
Oh wait, you showed it to me. I think
This is like a pretty big one.
you showed it to me.
Teach you it fast and you can say poop-de pan.
You want to know a secret? I can count all the way to 55. I remember back in high school, there was this one guy, definitely like not the brightest dude, but senior year, he had just found this video and he would not stop talking about it for like a week. And he would, not like he would go on and on about it. It would just be you in class and be like, 55. And you would just smile to himself. It's like, man, I wish I was as happy as you right now, man. Made his life.
Where is he now?
Where is he now?
Is he making videos like 56?
Oh, the guy who made him?
No, I'm talking about the guy who graduated with you.
I have no idea.
Maybe on a 57 now?
Maybe. I don't know if that guy made other videos, but they're really old. It's like back in like really early Newground days. Which I had heard and told you before, like how it amazed me that the guy who made
I was about to bring this up if you didn't.
The Ultimate Showdown of Ultimate Destiny is also the same guy that made Harry Potter Puppet Pals, as well as a bunch of other stuff. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And he has like a mashup album you would enjoy where he hides Smash Mouth in the album. And it's all stuff like if you take the entire like album and you like put them like end to end or something, or you take all the albums, put them end to end, and then stack them so it's like one album each, and you play it at 1,000% speed. It's Smash Mouth like All Star, and it's just like, why? It's like it's amazing this exists, but also why?
Is he still doing stuff?
I assume so. I think he.
Oh, did he also do he wasn't the Laser Chronicles or whatever.
No, I don't. The ASDF guy. I don't think so.
What?
ASDF.
What is?
The I'm a firing my laser stuff.
Yeah, but
That was the name of it. It was like ASDF 1.
okay,
Referencing the keyboard, like on the QWERTY, ASDF.
okay. I thought they called it like the Laser Chronicles. Like something.
Well, I think that was just a collection of the I'm a firing my laser. Whereas the other ASDF was just like a bunch of really dumb random skits that were terribly animated.
That also had laser.
Yes, that's where it started. I'm a firing my laser. I remember like there was a time that like that's all that mattered. Like that was the original memes. And now it's like, oh, It's so old. Like, I don't know the last time I've legitimately seen that joke.
Which one?
I'm firing my laser and like that dumb face. But there was like definitely a period where you would see that all the time, and it was like the most funny thing.
Like Majora's Mask moon coming, like it's about to crash, but instead, I'm a fire my laser.
Yep.
So we have some stories to wrap up from episode 3 that we get into. So would you like to reference a certain plate of spaghetti, Andrew?
I could reference it.
I don't recall this story as well as you, I think.
So back when we were going really hard in Boy Scouts,
As you do.
and when I say back when we were going really hard, this is actually when I actually officially was going really hard in Boy Scouts. I kind of lagged behind a little bit. I mean, I still started at the same time as you, but I kind of tried like getting in for a little bit.
Hot.
Adolescent, 11-year-old boys.
I don't know.
No comment?
Jamie's like, I'm going to write so much fan fiction to this later.
No, probably not.
I believe it was in January.
Yeah, because it was like cold. This is relevant to the story.
It was cold. It was by a lake that was partially frozen, only very partially, so people weren't being jackasses and going out on it, I believe. I know I doesn't. I know you weren't.
No, there was a guy that fell in.
Oh, was there?
Yeah.
Are you sure it was the same camp? Probably was.
I assume it probably was.
But
That's the one I'm thinking
also,
of.
next to the fucking lake was a muddy, just trap of just like your boot went in, and if it wasn't tied on, you were not getting that boot out. It was not fun. But it was cold, and there was that. So I had like 3 layers of pants on. I had like a pair of blue jeans, insulation, and then like these big like army pants that went on over that. So I'm wearing 3 layers of pants. And it gets late and dark, which was probably about 6 o'clock because it's fucking January and we live in, central United States. And so people are getting dinner. And one thing that would always happen in Boy Scouts is like, so not everyone would bring fucking chairs, okay? It's just a thing that certain dads would bring chairs and certain kids would bring chairs, but not everyone had chairs. So the thing was, when people weren't sitting in chairs were a commodity. And you jumped to those chairs. On that day, Chris claimed a chair. But he was going to leave the chair because he wanted to grab something or take a piss or something. I think it was take a piss. So he's gone. I see that there's an empty chair. I go take the chair. Unbeknownst to me, that is Chris's chair. He comes back, and I'm talking with you and Alex, and he's like, hey, can I have my chair back? I'm like, no, you left. He's like, okay, fine. Can I at least have my spaghetti? To which I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, I left the spaghetti in the chair. I'm like, oh, I stand up, and lo and behold, I've been sitting in spaghetti for about 5 minutes. And I had no idea because I could not fucking feel it.
And that's how Andrew got his noodle fetish. And now you know the rest of the story, Jamie. But yeah, I remember that was like such a good moment because like everyone's cold and just like trying to eat their like spaghetti, and everyone just like watches Andrew stand up because you're all in like this tiny little tent we had. So everyone was like,
We were on a campfire.
I thought it was under that canvas tent, the giant big top one.
No.
Then you had to go take off one of your pairs of pants. It's a good
Yep.
time. That's what you get when you go hard in Boy Scouts, JB. Well, do you have any stories about camping and Girl Scouts?
Yeah.
Masterful segue to our next topic.
I was in Girl Scouts for a few years, and we only went camping, I would say, once, and it was this time.
Wimp.
I wanted to camp more, but we only went once, and we got a cabin, and the first thing we did was check out the cabin, but we turned on the light in the basement of the cabin because it had a basement that had like a chalkboard and places to sit. But the entire floor, you could not see the actual floor because it was covered in dead crickets and bugs. So we turned on the light and the whole floor was covered in dead bugs. And a lot of the girls were freaked out. But me and a few of my other scout friends, we just got vacuum cleaners and just started crunching up the bugs in this vacuum cleaner for like 2 hours. Just like It's just the sound of crunching bugs.
I feel like a dustpan and broom would be more efficient.
No, it was fun. And then we got a Ziploc bag, and then we
I think you have a weird definition for fun.
we went camping once, and this is maybe why we only went once. And then we got like Ziploc bags and the crickets, and we hung them up on the clipboard. And then,
It's like, hey, don't let this happen again.
yeah, basically like a warning to other bugs, like, this is what
I was
happens.
trying to say the people that take care of the cabin. It's like, hey, clean this shit out of your cabin, motherfuckers.
Well, the thing is, we didn't do very much other than have a fire and clean up the bugs. But we also had spaghetti that night. No joke. We had spaghetti, but no one sat in it. But I do remember because I love spaghetti. And I remember everyone got a plate of spaghetti, but I wanted to get a second plate of spaghetti. Like I wanted seconds during Scouts.
Mom, can I have some more?
But I went up and I actually got yelled at. They were like, no, you can't have more spaghetti right now. And I actually cried as a little scout because they wouldn't let me have more spaghetti. Same camping trip.
This is where the story ends, right there. Yep. I wanted more spaghetti and like, no.
They actually wrote a book about it. I'm fucking up. Oliver Twist. Shit. I was gonna make a Great Expectations joke, but it's like then I was like, I don't actually know the name of the story. Shit. I'm thinking, I don't like Dickens.
Long story short, that was a really stupid story of the only time we ever went camping.
You know what else I don't like?
What's that?
Actual dicks.
You know, like actual what?
Dicks. He doesn't like Dickens, but I don't like dicks.
I actually don't like Charles Dickens. I do not enjoy his books. But you always have to like read them in high school and stuff. So
Okay. There's a speaking of people you may not like as authors, like Ernest Hemingway. Not a. I don't consider him a very interesting read.
okay.
Film theorists came out with a video about that, or about Ernest Hemingway and Deadpool, and how you could interpolate that Ernest Hemingway is Deadpool.
Is Deadpool?
Yeah,
Okay.
because Ernest Hemingway had a really interesting life, like fucked up shit. He tried to serve in World War One. They wouldn't have him, so he was a medic instead and drove around in a van. Survived like a car exploding and stuff like that. Like so, he survived like all these things that should have killed him. Then he would also go in a fishing boat, and essentially he purpose it to be essentially a patrol boat where he would go fishing, but he also had like machine guns, grenade launchers, and stuff in the back of his boat in case there were enemy boats would come in and he'd like fucking fight them off. I'm like, who is this guy?
Damn.
Yeah, he was a tough guy, apparently.
Wow. I really don't know anything about him.
But he also was an amateur boxer. And apparently, like at the time, one of like the most renowned boxers at the time said like, there's one person I would not go into a match with is this guy. and I'm like, okay.
But so Jamie's story of camping reminded me of a thing we used to do on our like one cabin camp out. Is we always call it was the father-son camp out, and we'd rent like I guess you could call it a cabin kind of thing. It was like it was this campsite I went to. It was like their trading post, their store. And then they also had like bunks in the basement. That's where the kids would stay, and then the adults would stay upstairs and stuff. And we had a tradition, which is like the dumbest fucking thing we ever did, where every year we'd buy like 1,000 bouncy balls, and we would just have a bouncy ball fight
In the dark, in the basement.
and all that is just like hard rubber balls, and you just throw them at each other. There's no like objective to win. You just try and like hit as many people as possible. And inevitably, there was no upside. But every year we did this. Inevitably, it was like, oh, we go until someone gets hurt, basically, and then we'd stop for a while.
Oh, remember that one time though? Someone got hit BB ricochet.
A BB ricochet.
Yeah, because we were a Boy Scout troop, we had a BB gun. I mean, that's kind of a default thing that happened. Maybe not anymore, but I would say most troops have a BB gun or two.
Right.
But one person, they were jacking off in the forest, and
I have so many questions about this story.
jacking around. And
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry. That was, I meant just screwing around with the BB gun.
He's like really into guns, and he's just like jacking it. It's like, oh yeah.
was shooting the BB guns, and apparently it bounced, it ricocheted, and hit another guy in the arm, and it actually got embedded. And they needed to take it.
The way you said that is in me. It sounded like there's a dude, like we're all throwing bouncy balls, and there's a dude with a BB gun just firing in the dark too. I was like, did I miss that? It's like, man, yeah, maybe like that would really hurt. That, or there was just a dude throwing BBs. I was like, what?
That would hurt less than the BB guns, though, yes, less than the BB guns, but that would hurt less than the bouncy balls.
But yeah, I guess I didn't recall that. But, I mean, it's just like something you do as like a kid. It's just like, there's no upside to this. Like, it's fun, but it was just like, I'm just going to duck down, and then you like go up, throw something, and you duck down because there's this barrage of like hard rubber balls just comes at you. It's terrifying.
You know what else we did?
What's that?
You got me into Pokemon, really. Like, because I had Diamond before, but we got Heart Gold and Soul Silver to play, and we played that in the basement
Oh yeah.
one year, and we caught our legendary Pokemons. Yeah.
I've only owned 2 Pokemon games. Silver, Soul Silver. So when they make a remake of Soul Silver, I'm going to be all over that.
They did. Oh, wait. No, they wait.
Yeah, Soul Silver. So when they make the remake of the remake, I'm going to be all over it. Second generation, best generation.
I never used to be big on Pokemon until in 8th grade when I had a full case of the chicken pox. And I was home for, I think, a week. And I was on the couch playing Pokemon literally day till night. Okay, all I have to say is having it in 8th grade, all those chicken pox sucked. I still have scars from it.
I have scars from Molesca. Molesca.
That sounds like a medication you take for like erectile dysfunction. Molesca.
Molesca are like these bulbous growths that kids can frequently get, and that they usually you get like an outbreak of these weird. They're kind of like warts, except usually they're more kind of localized. So like it's more like they'll kind of have a core, and you essentially just get a little X-Acto knife out and just carve those fuckers out.
So I'm going to change this topic because disgusting. But on top of like dumb Boy Scout stuff, I think every Boy Scout troop I have ever seen independently through no collaboration had the same game called Dirt Ball, which as far as I can tell was just you throw rocks at each other. And it was meant to be like dodgeball.
Big piles of dirt, and you would throw them at each other, but there would always be rocks.
There's always rocks. And but independently, it's not like the thing that spread. It just seemed like every Boy Scout troop played this, and it was always the same thing. It's like, oh, we played this until someone's younger brother got hurt or something. It's all it was. You're like literally just throwing rocks at each other, and it was just like, why? How is this a thing in like every troop I've ever seen? Because we've seen a lot. Like we went to like a jamboree. We used to do Over the Arrow stuff, and we're going to play dirt ball. Like when we were at Cedars, they all played dirt ball. It was a thing, and it's like, why?
Wow.
All it was pain.
It was boy and adolescent boy, just mindsets going to like, oh, this sounds fun, and then you start playing like this isn't fun, and then you go months and like this sounds fun again, and then like no, this isn't fun again.
I cannot say that Girl Scouts would ever have something like that.
It'd be like if we had a game like, hey, let's make a game where we just throw bricks at each other's faces, because that's all this is.
This is not part of any Scouts, but growing up in my old neighborhood, my sister and I had these 2 boy neighbors across the street from us, and what they would do is they would get water bottles, fill it with water, freeze them, break the plastic, and throw those ice chunks at my sister and I when we were riding our bikes down the street.
I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
It's like a kid version of an ice bullet.
Ice bullets don't work, asshole.
So, growing up, I don't know who challenged who, but they challenged us to a race down the street.
Race.
Like a running race down the street, and I beat them all. I beat everyone. So they stopped doing it.
Well, you finally have a public forum to gloat about it.
Remember
when I was 7? Fuck those guys.
Fuck those guys. I won that race, and they stopped throwing ice at us.
I remember one time I was on a bike ride with my sister, and some dumbass kid had another bicycle tire, and he just threw it at her and knocked her off her bike.
What an asshole.
He was carrying a bicycle tire on his bike?
No, she was on a bike, but this other guy who was unrelated, just in the park, it was at Candlewood Lake park. Okay. Someone was just there, and he also had a bicycle tire for some reason and just threw it at her.
What's that sport where you get a plate and you spin around, or a ball and you spin around and then let it go?
Discus?
Yes. Did they throw it like a discus
Like shot put.
or a shot put?
No, what's something you spin what around?
Where it's like a sport where you have it and then you like spin around and then you let go.
Oh, you twirl. Like, yeah.
I just imagine them doing that with the tire and just letting it go.
You say a tire, but I picture it just being like a unicycle. He's just like throwing it at her.
Are we on time?
We're basically at time, I think. We had like a long air time we had to do setup before, though, so we can do closing. So, I'm Grant. I'll throw my Twitter on the handle.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Jamie.
And thanks for watching. So, the plan is that these are going to be every Friday, starting with the one coming out this Friday, but this one's going to be coming out 2 weeks from now, so I guess that's not important. But that's the goal, is go to move weekly, at least for these, I'd say about 10 test episodes, just so we can see what we want to do.
And I think you mean by the time people see this, this will have been shot 2 weeks ago.
Yes. I have to like go through and test all this stuff. Like for the episode 2, which is the one that's coming out this Friday, I kept restarting my editing process to figure out like which one worked best. And I still have stuff to fix. Like there's a weird issue that, so these cameras, they shoot in 60 FPS, which is nice. But that's a lie. They don't. They shoot in a variable frame rate. So if they have issues, they'll drop frames. That's very common. Well, when I uploaded the audio for episode 2, I put it all together and then re-export it. That doesn't drop frames. So I still have to figure out how to stop it from desyncing over the course of this hour, because I have to fix that manually, and it's very tough. I don't have that answered yet. So we'll see. I'm going to experiment. But yeah, we're going to be on hopefully a new schedule, and I'll slowly catch up, and it'll also give us some leeway. Because generally, I don't think we talk about stuff that's that time dependent. It's not like, oh my God, we're going to go see this movie that comes out tomorrow, and then I post it a month later or something. So I'm excited, though. It's coming along really nicely. I just have to kind of work on a bunch of small processes to make sure it doesn't take up my entire week. So thanks for watching. We'll be back again next Friday.